Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for this panel on Web3 meeting payments, a topic close to all of our hearts, something we've been involved in for some time. I know we're going to be in for an interesting discussion. We've had lots of good chats before this, even ending up down the NFT rabbit hole. Ewoud sporting a lovely t-shirt with his NFT on there.
Can you hear me, by the way? Nope. Hello.
Great. Okay.
Like it?
It's awesome. We all love it. So, three excellent panelists to join this discussion. Perhaps, guys, you can introduce yourselves, starting with you, Guy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Guy. I'm the head of BD Payments at Fireblocks. So for you who don't know Fireblocks is basically the go-to partner if you have crypto or your balance sheet, or if you have any crypto offering, you should use Fireblocks, because Fireblocks allow you to securely and easily manage all your crypto operation. Specifically about myself and my team, so a few months ago, Fireblocks acquired our company, First Digital. We were focusing on payments, blockchain-based payments, and this is something that Fireblocks seeing as a big growth opportunity. Therefore, we were acquired by them, and today we are leading all payments in Fireblocks, and I'll be happy to share more about that after my friends will introduce themselves.
So, hello everyone, I'm Francisco Maroto. I'm working in BBVA in leading the blockchain discipline and leading the strategy and the different projects that we are implementing with blockchain technology and within the crypto space. Prior to this, I headed the SWIFT department in BBVA, so I'm coming from the traditional payment space or traditional finance, now working on CeFi, on centralized finance, and let's see if banks like BBVA can reach DeFi in the future.
Yeah, hello, and my name is Ewoud Barink. I'm part of the crypto and Web3 team at Worldpay from FIS. And we process for the largest exchanges and brokers in the world. So we are purely, let's say in essence, a fiat on and off ramp provider. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for the intros. So we've got just under 30 minutes, and I know we've got a lot to talk about, so we're going to dive straight in. I think ever since Bitcoin appeared on the scene and early days of Bitcoin, Satoshi showed us a new way to do payments over the internet, the first use case on the blockchain. I mean, we've all been working on blockchain-based payments for a while, but why do we need blockchain-based payments, given that we've got traditional systems that work pretty well on the whole? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Maybe, Guy, if you want to kick off.
Yes, so I think that it's not that we need to replace the current systems, like the current fiat system or the current payment system. We just need, or actually we're seeing a huge opportunity to incorporate different blockchains, that actually blockchain can be viewed as a payment system. And if you can, these two systems can live alongside each other, you can achieve great benefits. So for example, we are working with PSPs today that are able to settle with their merchants 24/7. This is something that you cannot do if you're using only the fiat rails. So actually it's an announcement we had with checkout.com a few weeks ago, so I can talk about it, but checkout.com is processing fiat for their merchants, and usually the way it would work is that they will need to settle with them after they process all these fiat payments for them. Now, when you're doing the settlement using only fiat rails, it's something that can happen only 5 days a week. And when you're using stablecoin, for example, not necessarily Bitcoin or Ether or others, you can do 24/7 settlement. And this is something very powerful for a PSP to offer his merchant 24/7 settlements. So this is just one use case, real world use case, using blockchain-based payments, and I can talk here for many other use cases. But the interesting thing here is this use case has nothing to do with the speculation or the volatility of Bitcoin or other currencies. This is a boring but very powerful use case for businesses to leverage stablecoins and blockchain.
And Guy, let's not forget about the fact that whenever you start settling fiat, especially when you start settling international, the route that you need to take from one bank to the other, to the other, to the other, it doesn't only have an impact on the time of settling, but it also has an impact on the cost of settling. And whenever you go cross currencies, it becomes an even bigger challenge, right? So this stablecoin settlement is perfect solution.
Yes, definitely.
Well, we need to see it, no? I mean, we think that the payment landscape is really competitive. It's a very competitive space. There are different payment methods, different payment rails. We have seen how fintech has been entering the space since a few years ago, providing new solutions, faster, more efficient than the traditional rails. And now we have a new kid on the block with blockchain payments, no? Stable coins or based in crypto, or maybe with CBDCs in the future. No? So this new payment rails or payment system needs to prove the value added that brings to the ecosystem, or for which use cases could be more suitable, no? than the others. And maybe we could have a combination in the future where we have traditional payments for certain use cases, or crypto payments for other use cases. An example of this, for example, in Spain right now we have Bizum, which is real payment system based on mobile phones, very fast, free, and it's working very well, huge adoption in Spain. So if we create a CBDC, a digital euro, what value is going to bring to the user, to the end customer? Is it going to improve Bizum experience? Bizum is already 24 times 7 times 365, no? So this is something we need to see. Of course, payments in the blockchain ecosystem, I think it's much more efficient to use crypto or payments, no? But on the real world, we yet need to see which system is better.
We've sort of gone straight into stablecoins and touched on CBDCs. Why don't we address that now? I mean, Francisco, where do you think we're heading with stablecoins and CBDCs? There is this, like, two tracks, I suppose, with the private sector and governments working. How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, so, I mean, stablecoins is a reality right now. They are working, at least mainly in US dollars, no? We don't have seen yet many other currencies, but we are starting to see them move. We have seen just Circle announce they're going into creating a euro stablecoin, and
that's our partner.
Yeah, it will improve. So stablecoins are reality. They are the base of DeFi, of decentralized finance. Without stablecoins, I think DeFi wouldn't be the same, or at least have that much adoption. They are also the step in, step out for trading in crypto. So they have a use case. It's a reality. And the next thing would be CBDCs. CBDCs. There is a pilot in China with the digital yuan. Several small countries have live CBDCs working, but in general, the rest of the countries are looking very thoroughly up to the need of a CBDC and the form it would have, the design, the privacy, if it's retail, it's wholesale, if it needs to have limits, and why. Why are they taking so much time? Because they need to be very careful with what they do and the design of the digital euro or digital dollar, because it can have big impacts in monetary policy and in the financial sector. If we have a bank run or deposit run from bank deposits to stables or to CBDCs, it could be a problem for the financial industry. Or you can also have spillover effects in other countries where there isn't a very strong currency and you bring a US dollar stable, and the country might start working with this new option, no? So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
One more question from my side. How long do you think it will take for the first CBDC to be launched? And which country do you think it will be?
As I said, the small countries, some of them in the Caribbean, have already live solutions. In the US, Europe, I would say 3 to 5 years minimum. I mean, in Europe, they have already said 5 years. 2 years now for testing, 3 more for going live and taking the decision. In the States, it should be similar. They are, for the conversations they are having there, the policymakers, they are trying to define what would be better to support a private stablecoin or to create their own public stablecoin. No? So that
yeah, exactly, because the market is developing so fast right now that if you talk about 3 to 5 years from now, the question is like, what will it be adding at that stage besides the fact that it will have a central bank behind it? But that's
it.
one of the things where I'm like, okay, where is this going?
So I think that's good news for the private stablecoins, that they have time to develop, to evolve, to improve, to provide and add value. And then, of course, there is a question that when the digital euro or the digital dollar arrives, what value added is bringing to the ecosystem? No? That's the question that needs to be solved.
Yeah, I think it's a big question. What's interesting about the Caribbean, the story of the Bahamas, because the Hurricane Dorian hit the islands very badly and destroyed the banking infrastructure. It was easier to put up mobile phone masts than it was to rebuild banks. So that was they had a real burning problem that they had to solve, and that kind of drove that project. Just going back to like the merchant payment use case that we kind of touched on there, Ewoud, perhaps we can revisit that. How do we realistically join this new world to the existing infrastructure? You guys, are obviously very much part of that world. I mean, all of us. But just talk us through that. How does that look from your perspective?
So the landscape of payments today is already a challenge, because you have Visa and MasterCard, so you need an acquirer. And then on a global level, you have 300, now I believe it's even 500 different APMs that you can use as a merchant. So the question is, which mix am I going to use to make sure that I can get access to the most potential market out there? How can I reach all those users, and how can I make sure that they can pay in their preferred payment method? And now you got Web3 coming along, you got crypto coming along, so the challenge becomes even bigger, right? Because then now you need to combine it in two. So I think as a PSP, as an acquirer, you need to be ready for that, right? Research has shown that between the age of 18 and 35, 40% of the people that responded indicated that they want to pay in crypto in this year. That's 40% of, let's say, next-gen payments.
Yeah.
Which is, for me, really interesting, because it means you need to be ready for this, right? We launched what is called the Metastore. So guys, if you want to check it out on LinkedIn, it's called Metastore by Worldpay. This is showing a really nice idea of where we think this space is going and how you can buy something, whereby we combine Web 2 and Web 3 and even going into Metaverse.
Awesome.
Yeah, so if you're talking about pay-ins, how a merchant is accepting crypto-based payments, so there is a lot of complexity over there, more than just presenting a QR code, hey, this is my address, send me funds into my address, because if you think about the value today that Visa and MasterCard, the card networks that provide for users and merchants, when you're paying with your Visa, you have context what you're paying for. The merchant knows who you are, basically, and you know what you're purchasing, what's the price. There's a lot of context to the payment. And in crypto today, you don't really have that. So again,
but there's also fraud with credit cards, right? So you don't always know who the card holder is. So it works two ways.
Yes. So this is also something we're working on, not only about the payouts part, but only about the pay-ins. Providing context to the payment itself, which is basically combining the good things about card networks, the trust and the context of the payments together with the good things that blockchain-based payments can provide, which is much cheaper rates, instant settlement, faster. Yeah, so this is also things that we're working on in Fireblocks.
Cool. Francisco.
Yeah, so what we are seeing is that, as I mentioned before, the base case was DeFi, for crypto payments, but we are seeing more and more how they are stepping into the traditional finance, and they are going for the merchants, and they are starting to build payment services or payment methods that enable the possibility of paying with your crypto, with your wallet, and the merchant can choose whether they want to receive the fiat or they prefer to receive the crypto. What we are seeing, at least now, is that most merchants, they are willing to have this possibility or this option in their point of sale, both a digital point of sale or physical point of sale, the possibility that the customer can choose to pay with crypto or whatever they want. But we also still see a preference for fiat. So they would be rather off-hands crypto than on-hands crypto, and they prefer receive their fiat and leave the client the option to pay with fiat or crypto. Yeah, a clear example of this is how MasterCard has just announced they are connecting or enabling payments directly with credit cards in OpenSea or metaverses. No?
Thanks. I'd say we're all in a building phase right now is my sort of impression. And obviously there are things live out there and we're all working on things. But are there specific initiatives that you guys are working on that you're able to share with us that you feel are particularly transformative in the future? You know, there's all sorts of things happening. We mentioned the metaverse, we sort of joked about NFTs, but if you were to sort of pick out one thing that's a direction of travel or an initiative that you can talk about, maybe Guy, we can kick off with you.
Yeah, so something that we, as I said, already launched and are very excited about is basically allow PSPs, payment companies, a way to settle 24/7 with the merchants. Only that is a huge, huge, huge offering and a huge market for us. But
if you imagine that 5% of all settlements on a global level by PSPs would move to this world, that's like mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
So settle, but for example, another use case which is similar but not exactly the same is, PSPs are processing fiat for their merchants, and they need to settle with them. Maybe they don't ready yet to settle with crypto, and they want to settle with fiat. But it's a cross-border transaction, right? You're processing in one country, and then you need to settle in a different country. You can use crypto in the middle of it, or stable coins. So you have fiat, stablecoin fiat, and by doing that, you can achieve great things. For example, faster, cheaper, but even more interestingly, is that you can have full visibility to where the money is in transit. So today, when you're doing using SWIFT or other, like doing cross-border transaction, you don't really know when the money is going to land. There are a few correspondent banks in the middle of that. You're not really sure about it. It's expensive. And today, you can do it by combining those crypto rails together with smart fiat rails, BCB, for example. You, as a company, can see the entire flow of funds, which is dramatic for these companies. So this is something we're very excited about.
Very cool. Francisco?
Well, I mean, that's just to answer Guy. Traditional payment systems are also improving. So Swift has Swift GPI, Swift Go that you can already track all the life cycle of the payment, no? So they are trying to improve. And in the blockchain space, which I agree, it could be potentially improving the system, there are certain risks that have to be taken into account, no? Technology risks, blockchain is yet as the technology that is maturing. Speed, cost, scalability, depending on the option of blockchain you use, could be a problem or not, or you might need to use a layer 2 or try to find a way to make it really scalable and fast and cost efficient in terms of, when lots of people are paying at the same time, could generate a problem for certain layer 1s. No? So yeah, we'll see in the future. In the case of BBVA, and it will improve and it will be better, I'm sure. This is why we are here to working on improving the systems and the blockchains. In case of BBVA, we've been working in the space for 6-7 years now. We have been focusing mainly in transactional banking, so payments and supply chain financing, and also global markets, no? Pre-trade, post-trade of securities, bonds, etc. No? That's our main area of focus, and also crypto. We have been one of the first traditional big banks to enter into the crypto space. We offer now buy, sell, and hold in BBVA Switzerland, so our private banking customers can now access crypto within a traditional bank and combined with their traditional portfolio and with the same user experience and security that a bank can provide. No? We are now working on seeing how we can expand this service to other countries because we have demonstrated that a traditional bank can also operate securely and in a compliant way in the crypto space. Going back to payments, in the transactional banking space, we started testing Ripple, and we moved real payments from Mexico to Spain. We have been working with Swift and with Worldpay, which is the Spanish clearinghouse, to create APIs that connect the blockchain ecosystems with traditional real-time payment systems in order to do the settlement from a blockchain ecosystem through the traditional payment rails. And we are also working now with the rest of the banks in Spain and Worldpay again in creating digital euros. This is Smart Money is the initiative, and we have been working in generating digital euros, both from an account-based perspective and also from a tokenized-based perspective, testing paying online, offline, to start understanding how it would be to manage a digital euro. And we are now trying to move forward and start testing programmability and other use cases on top of tokenized euros. No?
So not very busy at all?
No, not at all.
Ewoud.
Yeah, it's a really good question, but you should actually take a step back and realize that today, within the fiat world, still a lot of people, they drop out because they don't see their preferred payment method, right? And that's just with fiat. So whenever I try to explain my parents on the next generation of payments that we are all working on, they drop out. So at the end of the day, it comes down to having the combination of the preferred payment methods available in your checkout stage. And yeah, we're building our products like Pay by Crypto, so you can pay with crypto with any of our merchants. We can settle in stable coins. There's a lot that we're trying to build now in the Web3 environment, but it always needs to be linked to the demand out there, right? You actually need to have those users that want to use it, because otherwise, yeah, it's great to build something because it has the term blockchain connected to it. But with payments, there's actually, yeah, there's definitely a benefit of offering this, and then that's the direction that we take. But also think about issuing cards that are linked to, let's say, crypto assets. All stuff that we can also do, because we are actually known as a payment company, like a pure PSP, but because of FIS, we can also do banking and capital market products specific for crypto. So yeah, it's a lot of products and services that we can do, but it always comes down to, you know, what is the demand out there.
Yeah, and I think we touched on this during our chats. It's an evolution rather than a revolution. I think, Guy, you said that. So let's just go on that point about payments. And Francisco, you mentioned Ripple. Given the current price pressure in the markets, in the crypto markets, or markets in general, can we trust crypto to be a form of payment? And do we see Bitcoin really being a form of payment? Guy, perhaps.
I personally don't think Bitcoin is a good form of payment. When you think about it, when you're trying to purchase something online, you're not trying to purchase a shirt with your, I don't know, Apple stocks or your Tesla stocks or whatever financial asset you have. You're trying to pay with your US dollars or wherever you are with your domestic currency. So I think the volatility of Bitcoin, I'm not talking about the capabilities of the network to process thousands and millions of transactions like the other card networks. So I don't think it's a good form of payment, although if you consider stablecoins as a crypto, so yeah, stablecoins are very suitable for that, specifically when you're using them on the right chains. So not sure Ethereum is the right chain for it, but others are suitable for that.
Ewoud?
No, yeah, it really depends on which coin/token you use for this, right? So some tokens or coins, you can't use it for a payment. I definitely don't want to use my Bitcoin to buy shoes or whatever. But again, yeah, that comes down to the decision that the user wants to make. But can you do it? Yes, of course you can do it. There's definitely chains and solutions out there today that offer a very good, fast, secure, cheap way of paying.
Well, I will add that it depends. It depends on the country you live in, no? Maybe you live in Venezuela, Argentina, where you have huge inflationary currencies and you are used to volatility. Maybe Bitcoin is a good option. Or if you don't want to go through the on-ramps or off-ramps of fiat and you want to work strictly in crypto, it might be an option, no? If you do off-ramp, you need to pay taxes, you know, there are certain issues that you might have in mind when deciding to pay with Bitcoin, but I obviously agree that for day-to-day payments, it would be better a stable coin that don't have this volatility risk, no? So, yeah.
Yeah, the first interesting use case that I heard about Bitcoin payments was my son's computer science teacher who paid his rent in Bitcoin because the landlord lived in Australia. And so he was paying his rent each month by using Bitcoin. But
so the landlord is really happy right now.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, another use case that I heard the other day in Consensus a few weeks ago, Edward Snowden was saying that he was able to move this information from the NSA outside thanks to Bitcoin, because he used Bitcoin as a mean of payment to exchange the information with the press and all these things. So yeah, there are certain use cases where you might want to use Bitcoin.
Excellent. I think we can't talk about payments without touching on regulation. We did sort of chat about regulation. How will payments work with new forms of regulation, such as a travel rule and things like this? We know that regulators are looking at it. Who wants to take that? Maybe Francisco, you want to kick off? Okay, yeah, can I start? So the crypto space in general was not regulated, at least in several countries. So some like Switzerland were pioneers, and they started doing it before. And that's why regulation is coming. No? We are seeing how in the States there has been an executive order from Biden administration to all the different supervisors to start regulating the space, and there is a strong debate there whether they have to start with stable coins and then go for crypto, DeFi, etc., etc. Here in Europe, we have pilot regime for the use of DLT just been approved, the 2nd of June. We have MiCA, marketing crypto assets, coming hopefully this summer into place. And we have also the travel rule, which is bringing traditional financial standards to the crypto ecosystem. And even DORA, the operational resiliency law that is coming, also impacts the crypto world. So there are many regulations that are trying to regulate the crypto space, and basically what they are doing is bringing to the crypto space financial standards. So in terms of resiliency, security, systemic risk, no? And this is a challenge because it's not easy. If we are talking, for example, if we go to extreme and talk about DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, how are we going to control this? Or how is regulation going to support or to supervise this? For example, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a DAO. If everyone uses Bitcoin as a payment system, it could be systemic. If it's systemic, how are we going to control it? No? All these type of debates are the debates that are going on within the different supervisors and regulators in the different countries. Excellent. We're running close to time, so I did want to leave the remainder of time to ask each of you what you believe will be the biggest opportunity and emerging theme in the world of Web3 and payments. Mine, if I may sort of throw mine out there, in-game payments, I think, is a huge world that's ahead of us. But maybe, Guy, you want to kick off?
I think there are a lot of opportunities, obviously. Specifically, I think the biggest opportunity, at least what we are going to focus on, is, allow any business to accept blockchain-based payments, and also not necessarily it will need to convert those into fiat, but then he will be able to do the settlement with his paying out to his vendors, paying out salaries, maybe getting settled with his PSP or other payment providers. So imagining running your entire business on stablecoin rails. I think this is a big opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Francisco?
Yeah, so in my case, I think the Web3, if we are building the new internet, that's a huge space that will need financial services, that will need payments. So it's a huge opportunity for traditional payments to connect to that new ecosystem, and also for the new blockchain payments to serve that ecosystem or to go outside to the traditional economy. No? So yeah, I agree with you. Gaming could be the first thing, big first thing in the Web3 space.
Great stuff. And lastly, Ewoud.
Yeah, a bit boring, but I'm going to shake your hand. Definitely stablecoins for now, which is sitting in the bigger group of DeFi. And I think that DeFi will be bringing a lot more. It's going to disrupt so more, let's say, centralized organs. And that's strange, me saying that working for a centralized organ like a PSP. But I think there's a lot of room, a lot of opportunity in that corner. But yeah, we need regulations that don't kill innovation. I think that's key.
Excellent. Time's up, unfortunately. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you all for listening.